What's going on? We are back, and I am getting things in motion here, man. Things are rocking and rolling. Sorry about the noise outside, but just trying to figure out on this power. I think I figured out today what I'm gonna do with the whole power and solar setup. Really? And get all that done. And I think I've narrowed it down. I've called and asked some questions, got some great tech support and some ideas, stuff I already have and stuff that I'm gonna do. And the cool thing about it is this is all coming together. Some things have come to light.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm blathering about. I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
But anyway, moving forward, I've really narrowed down to what I know this Energy Apex is going to do, and that's going to be the cool thing about it. I've got so much in many different directions going on here with notes and ideas. I've got to start somewhere. So tonight I'm going to map out my solar. I'm also going to get online and I'm going to build and price out the van that I'm going to get. And I'm kind of thinking about maybe going ahead and getting the van and starting work on it. And then while this is for sale, I can get a head start and get all that done. I'll figure that out. I'm kind of really wanting to wait till this RV sells, and it will sell. I know it will. But I'm going to map out my power. I'm going to get all that done. So it's really going to be cool. I've got my Energy Apex. I think it's going to handle all my lights and the small 3-watt fans, and I believe the water pump. Now, the cool thing is the way I have this wired and set up, and the things that I've learned is I can take that connection from the Apex, because I'm just going to send the 12 volt from the Apex to a DC distribution panel. I can disconnect from there and go to the other side where everything else is going. I think there's going to be some cool efficiency in this with the lighting and be able to handle it with that. Takes less the burden off using so much of the 300 amp hour battery that I'm getting. I'm getting a 300 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. It's going to be really cool. And I'm going to attach a 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter to that. And I'm just going to get some bus bars, and I'll have 2 DC distribution panels. One from the Apex to a distribution, and one from the 300 amp hour battery. It's going to handle the AC, because everything I said in this RV is going to be 12 volt, except for the microwave and the induction cooktop. And if I had some sort of a, what they call it, Instant Pot, or my little Ninja blender back here. But other than that, I mean, I only use that Ninja blender once since I've been in here that I know of, and I get in the mood for it. But I mean, my thing here is, and I was talking to these guys, there's several people today on the phone, is I want headroom. I want to be able to have these options. The solar panels, I do have these Lynx panels, are going to work out perfect. I'm going to be able to take those and wire them into another solar charge controller, because those are panels already wired and set up for MPPT. So I'm going to get a Renogy. I think I'm looking at the Renogy Rover. So I'm going to plug those in the Renogy Rover into that 300 amp hour battery. So I'm going to put the solar in that battery, because everything's going to be running heavy on that. This thing charges pretty quick as I'm driving down the road. I will also have battery isolation coming off my chassis battery for my alternator into that 300 amp hour as well. So what I'm going to do is kind of build that unit as a portable plug and play, whereas I've got a ground lug to the frame and I've got everything there. All I got to do is unbolt that, unplug and pull that out. God forbid I ever have to. This Apex can come out and everything's there. So like I say, everything is to where I can move it, and it's, God forbid something were to happen to the van, I can get everything out of here. So don't really want that to happen. But I also want to build this in terms where I can, if I want to, title this as an RV as well. So we'll see. One thing at a time on that. So, but we are getting closer and closer to that. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to map out my power tonight. I do not think that I'm going with the Titan solar generator. That's just too big and too massive. And again, they claim to have a 3,000 watt. I swear to God, I got a master's degree in van building and RV living. This is insane. All the information has been fed in my brain. I'm just, it's nuts. We're talking 3 or 4 years of looking at this, and this RV has really helped me tremendously in figuring this out. But the Titan solar generators I'm referring to is claiming to have a 3,000 watt inverter with a 6,000 surge. But the problem is that it's the same as this Apex. It only runs in tiers of how much amount the amount of battery that you have, and it's still only going to run on a limited time. In other words, I've got a deep cycle that has different chemistry that's made to handle that, what that inverter gives, and I'm not going to pull it at 3,000. I'll be probably one appliance at the time. You can't really push that to the limit, or it will drain that battery quick. It's just, if I've got to use my microwave for a few minutes, or that convection oven for 5 or 10 minutes, or if I need to use this induction cooktop, I have options, and I'm not limited. Listen, my thought earlier was, I haven't even cooked in this van. Unless it's microwavable, everything was pretty much pre-prepared, unless I was eating out all the time. So, but I still want the option there. I'm going to get in a situation where I would probably need the option or want it, and it's good for a lot of reasons to have those options. So everything would be convertible of space and raring to go. So if I've learned anything about building vans, I've learned this. You've got to look when you build a van. I've seen so many people build these vans. Is you got to look at the importance of your space. Take priority of what you want out of that van when you build it. I totally agree. When I listen to these guys like Chrome Valdez, with that channel Van City Van Life, who talks about when he converted his van, it was bare to nothing. He is up there with some people with an outfitting company. I think they're called Ray Outfitters, and they say the same thing. Plan what you want out of it, but start where you know what you're going to need. You need a bed, and in this case with the van, I'm going to build the bed platform with my storage below, and I'm going to start from there. I already know the workspace I want, and I know where I want it, so everything else is in between. So if we get all that done, I know where everything's going to go, but I also know that whatever I put in there, I can move it around, because I'm going to use a system of what you call plus nuts to bolt everything in. Going to be cool. We're not using a lot of wood, and we're not using a lot of screws, and it takes you 2 hours to get something unbolted from the wall and have to get it out, and then you got to reconstruct the whole thing. So not going to be anything like that. It's going to be pretty cool how I'm going to build this. Insulation, I'll tell you, that's another conversation. Yeah, everybody's talking about how you're going to insulate it. The two biggest questions I think I've heard in custom van builds is, how are you going to insulate it, and how are you going to go to the bathroom in it? Big questions. It's probably the most asked questions out of any of that, and anybody will tell you that. So be it that it may, I got all that taken care of. So the insulation is going to be a cool process. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to, I touched on, use some thermoliner and cover it. It's going to be a reflective thermoliner for heat barrier as well as vapor barrier. Then I'm going to put a layer of, there's a closed cell reflective foam pad over the top, and then wool. It's going to be wool insulation, sheet wool. I'm going to use a company called Havelock. I've actually got to contact them. I got to make some phone calls here. Havelock, it's really, for a couple of bags to do the whole vans, I think the cost I got from Jared Tachi was like $250, maybe $300. Not a bad cost for sheet wool. It won't mold or mildew, nor will that thermoliner or none of that will mold or mildew. It will reflect precipitation, a lot of that vapor for the most part, but it will reflect that heat. When you get in the summer from the roof especially, that heat comes bearing down. It'll really help keep things efficient in here. And between that and that cruise and comfort AC system, that's going to be the biggest cost of this vehicle, is that air conditioning unit and my power system. And technically, if I didn't care about wanting if I didn't care about really wanting all this big appliance or anything, I'd probably just stick with this Energy Apex. Thing is, I need more battery. The most important thing I need about this is I need battery life. I need amp hours, which I'm learning, talking today more and more in this time, is equating to watt hours. I need more watt hours, but amp hours to watt hours, I understand the math, how it converts, and one is as good as the other. It just depends on how you want to look at it. At the end of the day, as much experience I've had with electronics and everything, all I want to see is a damn meter. It tells me how much battery life I've got. I don't want to have to mathematically calculate my damn battery power, bring a multimeter out every day. I just want to know what my damn battery power is going to be. That's what I want. This does a great job of doing it. This here on my RV, not so much. Those one-place panels, yeah, I don't know. And a lot of it is these AGMs below the RV. Not a fan of AGM batteries, because you can only use half of the battery anyway. I mean, like I've said before, and I've said it again, I've got 200 amp hours of AGM battery, but I only have 100 amp hours of battery in this RV. It's not good. So when it's said and done, I'll have 491 amp hours of battery power, almost 500 amp hours. That's a lot of it, you know. And I will get me another Lynx panel, because I think I can get 4 of those Lynx panels on the roof of that ProMaster. So I'll have 400 watts of solar coming in. I'll have that. I'll have a 20 amp Connect plug coming in from the bottom of the RV, where you won't see it, but it'll come in. That's all I need. I don't need 30 amp. Everything's 12 volt except these initial appliances that are momentarily being run. I'll have battery isolation charging coming in from the chassis battery, and a cigarette lighter charge for the Apex, as well as a rapid charger if I want to put it in the AC. I'm finding that on the Energy, though, the Apex is 12 volt charging is charging it faster than AC because of the inverter, the crossover, and charging with that. I think their rapid charger probably would do the trick. But if it's charging and it's keeping it trickle charged, I'm good with keeping it with my cigarette lighter plug here. I will say the one thing I had to do, and keep this in mind, if you get an Energy Apex, one of these generators, if you put in a ProMaster van, Energy says make sure, and probably most of these vehicles, for your cigarette lighter outlet, make sure you have a 20 amp fuse in that cigarette lighter outlet, because it'll trip the fuse. I mean, you need that headroom, the 20 amp, because obviously they know it's been tripping fuses up under the hood. So keep that in mind, indeed, if you are looking to get one. But anyway, I'm going to map all this out and get on here, and I will keep it posted on what I'm going to do. Something's telling me maybe to go to Ram or Dodge this weekend and talk to this guy. That getting cornered by a car salesman's one of the worst things, man. Trying to get out the door when you're not ready to buy. I told him I wasn't ready to buy until my RV sold, but something is kind of chomping at the bit to go ahead and get the van and get this started. I think it would be cool, because this RV will sell. I know it will. I'm not worried about that. I've already had some calls and some interest on this thing, so we'll give it time. This thing's gonna sell, and it's gonna be great. So anyway, I am out, and I will see you guys on the next video. And like and subscribe and follow me on it. Let's do this. Be cool. Bye.